Hi, this is Janine, your Medicare agent. I wanted to make sure that you had all the information that you need. The annual enrollment period is coming up really, really soon, and I wanted to make sure that you know that this is going to be a very, very important year for the AEP because prescription drugs are changing as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. So I'm going to just give you some quick information. You can contact me at any time if you have questions. So we've got some yay happening. So let me tell you about all the good things that are happening. So there's a $2,000 maximum out of pocket for you. That means that the maximum that you'll pay towards your prescriptions in 2025 and beyond is $2,000. So also good, yay. No donut hole. The catastrophic phase is going away. If you don't know what that is, that was the phase where you paid a lot of money for your prescriptions once you reach this, what they call the donut hole. But that's going away, so you don't have to worry about that. So that's really good too. Another thing that they're doing as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act is called payment smoothing. So you have a deductible. In 2025, your deductible is going to be $590. And so what they're doing is a lot of times with that deductible, that the first few months of the year kind of can be really, really expensive for some people. So what they're doing is they're doing something called payment smoothing. And so they're going to take what they estimate to be your entire year's worth of medication or what it's going to cost you, including your premiums, and they're going to divide that by 12. So instead of paying a big number up front, you'll pay a stable number throughout the year unless your prescriptions change. Another good thing about this is you can get in this plan any time of the year. So it doesn't have to necessarily start at the beginning of the year. Now, we're not certain what happens if you don't pay that monthly cost, but that is something that they're doing to try to help you. And then secondly, the last thing is that your insulin, if you need insulin, will still be $35. So that's good too. Now, let's talk about some of the things that might not be so good. So because there's a $2,000 maximum, the insurance companies are going to have to, in some way, try to contain the costs. So some of the things that they could possibly do is one, they could stop covering the medication that you need, the brand of medication that you need. So they have to cover every type of drug, but not every brand of drug. So they may stop covering your brand and they may want you to move to another brand, or they could increase the premium. So if you have a standalone prescription drug plan, your premium could have been $10. It could go up to $30. If it was $30, it could go up to $50. So we'll have to see what that looks like when they come out with the plans. Another thing is they can change from co-pays to co-insurance. So let me tell you about what that is. Co-pays are when you go to the pharmacy and you have a $10 copay, you have a $5 copay, or something like that. A co-insurance is where you have to pay a percentage of the amount of the medication. So, for instance, if it's a medication that costs $100 and you have a 15% copay, that means that you'll have to pay $15 for that medication. So depending on how much the medication costs, you're going to have to pay a percentage instead of just a flat copay. And then also they may do some changes in the formulary, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more in depth on the next slide. So they could change first off, what is a formulary? A formulary is what a insurance company use to figure out how they're going to pay for a medication and if it's going to have any limitations on it. So they have the ability to change the formulary of their products. So when you have prescription drugs, your prescriptions are on different tiers, tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes 6. The lower the tier, the lower the medication. So those tier 1s are going to be preferred generic drugs. And so instead of your medication being a tier 1 drug, which might have been 0 based on your current plan, they could change the tier of that medication to a tier 2, which means that if you were paying 0, you might have to pay $10 for it or something like that. And so the higher the tier of the medication, the more you're going to pay. So again, they could change the medication, the tier. Number 2, they could only cover the generics of a particular medication. So instead of paying for uh, Lipitor or whatever, they would only pay for the generic of that. 3, they could require that you receive a prior authorization on a medication. That means that before the medication can be filled by the pharmacy, they have to approve that they're going to allow you to do that. And then fourthly, it could be quantity limits. They could limit the amount of medication that you could receive. So those are some possible ways that they could change the formulary. We don't know what they're going to do as of yet, but those are possibilities. So what happens if the medication that you need doesn't work the way that it used to, or you're concerned because it was working fine for you for years, and now it's January 2 and you find out that it's not working. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to start shopping early. We're going to start looking early. But some of the things that you can do is you can change your plan. You can either change the plan within that company, or you can go to a different company. If you don't want to change, you can always ask the company for what's called a formulary exception. That means that you're asking them to approve your particular medication on their formulary. And usually if that is approved, it will be approved as a tier 3 medication. So this year, tier 3s were like $45, $47 or something like that. Don't know what they're going to be next year, but it's going to be a tier 3. Another thing that they could ask you to do is they say, okay, we're not going to change or anything like that, but what we want you to do is we want you to try a medication that does exactly what your medication does. And so they're going to give you a 30-day supply of your current medication. They're going to approve that. And then they're going to say, we want you to transition over to this other medication. And that's called step therapy. So they'll give you so much of your medication, but they're wanting you to transfer over to the new medication to see how that works. And then finally, if you still don't feel like you're getting what you need, you can file an appeal. First, you want to file the appeal with the insurance company to say, hey, I really need this. I want this to work for me. And if that doesn't work, you also have the ability to file an appeal with Medicare. So what should you do during AEP? The most important thing I want you to do is don't assume your current coverage is the same as it's been. Don't assume that, because like I said, this is a new year. There's new rules in place, and there's going to be a lot of change that's happening. So don't assume your coverage is the same. And then when you receive your annual notice of change, you normally receive that sometime in September. So you should be receiving it within the next month and a half. You want to pay attention to that. You want to see what your premium is changing to. You want to see what that looks like. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but I want to mention it now. This is not only for standalone prescription drug plans. This is also for Medicare Advantage plans too. So anything that is connected that has prescription drug coverage, all of the things I talked about earlier is going to matter. You're also going to want to compare your options. So you may have been with one company in that particular plan, but we want to look at all of your options to make sure that we are giving you that you're in the plan that's going to work the best for you for next year. And then finally, you're going to want to schedule with me early. So that we can make sure that we're taking care of you, because a lot of people are going to be shopping. So we want to make sure that we can take care of you to the best of our ability. We are appointed with many different companies, so we can look at, we want to be your one-stop shop. So you can give us a call or set an appointment, and then we can look at your options to see what it is that you need to do for this year. So again, I just want to say, I covered my face. But anyway, I just want to say, it is my pleasure to serve as your Medicare agent, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you during this next AEP. And please get in contact with me so we can take care of you and we can make sure that you have what you need for 2025. Thanks. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.